This is my debut opera as principal conductor, music director for Kentucky Opera. I've had the distinct pleasure of coming to this company many times. I conducted Prolo Fischers and Il Trovatore Werther and last year of Mice and Men. My job is to unite all the forces and make sure that the product that we give our patrons is just of the highest level, and I take that as a great privilege and honor. Well, today was great. It was the first meeting with the orchestra. We had two sessions today. We got through the whole show, rehearsed a lot of things, and really working on this wonderful style that Donizetti is attributed with. It's going to be a lovely frolic in the theater when we open on Friday, the 22nd. They sounded great. I mean, this style is hard to embrace because they play on contemporary instruments. When this piece was written, people were playing on gut strings, and now we have steel strings. So everyone's used to playing with a bigger, fuller sound, and it gets in the way of the nuances of this piece, of the articulations that the singers are doing on stage. And when they observe the true spirit, the true style, the orchestra just bubbles with emotion from the pit. What's challenging with any bel canto piece is ensemble. Not just ensemble within the orchestra itself, but ensemble between pit and stage. Because everything is based on the voice and more specifically the text, singers, when they're acting and when they become emotive about what they're doing, need to express that. And the rubato, the time that's taken in the words, can fluctuate. And it's really very exciting for me. I love doing this kind of music because it's so challenging to keep it all together. Mm-hmm. It's also in the orchestra, since the orchestration is so light, that means that the orchestra is not playing many notes all the time. And it gets to be, you can use this negative word, repetitive in the orchestra. You have to keep them excited and make sure that they have some sort of idea of what's being said on stage so they can formulate the sounds underneath, even though it might be very simple. Before we do a section, I tell them what's going on. It's very simple adjectives like someone's angry here, or someone's deeply in love here, or this is a huge joke. Really makes it colorful and gives them an idea. And the rhythm changes and the articulation changes and everything changes in the orchestra. It's the great thing about working in the theater is that there's a story behind everything. Even if it's chunk chunk, that chunk chunk means something because it's supporting these wonderful words on stage. So it's making sure that the chunk chunks have intent, just like the singers are doing on stage. Up until now, I've been upstairs right above where we're taping this, rehearsing 6 to 9 hours a day with the principals. And that means we're just with piano, in a smaller room, not on stage, learning the blocking, learning the staging, investigating the intent, and really shaping each of the musical numbers so that when we add costumes, add the scenic elements, add the lights, and then add the orchestra, everything then comes together. So everything is in a stepwise motion. It just takes about 2 weeks to stage an entire opera, and that's working about 6 to 9 hours a day. Kentucky Opera hasn't done a comedy in a long time, so when you do a comedy, it's so fun in the room. When you do Tosca, it's so heavy. When you do Of Mice and Men, it's just so heavy because of the emotion. But now we're doing this great comedy, and the director is wonderful and full of spirit, and you're laughing because you're creating these really wonderful moments. And the cast is fantastic. It's the wonderful Emily Albrecht, who's making her return here to Louisville, who just got out of the Domingo program in Washington, is Adina herself and has all the spitfire and all the vocal nuance, and it's just so great to discover this role with her. And the rest of the cast, from Duke Amaro, which is Peter Strummer, who first did it in 1975, brings just such a wealth of tradition to our production. And then Nemarino, who sings the very famous aria Una furtiva lacrima, brings just such a wonderful theatrical element to the stage from what he's been doing in his own career in the past. And his voice is just suited so well for this role, and it's just such a stellar cast.